7 or 8 miles back to Jerusalem. Dangerous journey, but such was their faith. What about the women in the grave? The disciples in a locked room. And Jesus appears. Then Jesus on the beach eating fish with his disciples. And all of those appearances that Jesus made, and the appearance again to the disciples, this time with Thomas with them. And we see this happening, and things begin to happen after the death and the resurrection of Jesus. All very confusing to the people at the time, until we look in the scriptures. And we read that Jesus had explained his death and his resurrection prior to going to the cross. It was God's intention for Jesus to reach the cross. It was God's intention that he would die there, that he would give up the ghost. Jesus said, "No man takes my life from me, I willingly lay it down." And we see he didn't die from the hand wounds, or the wounds of the feet, or the wound in the side. He gave up the ghost. Jesus said that this temple shall be destroyed and arise again in 3 days, his bodily temple. And you know something? Jesus was kept by the Father, kept safe for generations until he reached his destination. And his destiny was going to be fulfilled on the cross. It was God's intention that Jesus would ascend into heaven and present the sacrifice to the Father. As the Father would look at his hands and his feet and his side, he would see the marks of the crown of the thorns. And he knew that the sacrifice had been presented and accepted. We find in Acts chapter 1, verses 1 to 8, that he meets with his disciples and he promises the baptism in the Holy Spirit, and we'll look at that at the appropriate time. But you know, this is something that we read. If you look at verse 9, this is after he had spoken with them and told them to go to Jerusalem to wait for the Holy Spirit to come. It says, "Now, when he had spoken these things, while they watched,